Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and every week I take a close look at the real estate market here in the Villages. I'm going to orient you as to where the Villages is located. We are in Central Florida. The map you're looking at is showing you all active listings on the MLS as of today. Size of the circle denotes the size of the home, and the color of the circle denotes its price per square foot. That will be the case for all these maps that I show you, and you can see that it does indeed locate each home individually. The Villages is a 55 plus community. We have golf courses spread throughout, championship and executive. We have recreation, shopping, dining, and live entertainment in four town squares every night of the week. If you want to know what's happening to the real estate market here, what long term trends are, where properties are selling, where they aren't selling, this is the show for you. I'm going to break the Villages into four distinct geographic regions so you can compare between them. And a couple of things to note, the Villages has two distinct real estate marketplaces, the MLS and the VLS. The VLS is the Village's own internal marketplace. It's the only place you'll find new listings, but pre-owned homes are both on VLS and MLS. So if you're a buyer and you're only seeing VLS or you're only seeing MLS, you're only seeing about half of the properties available for sale. All of the information I'm presenting here is drawn from the MLS. The other point is that we produce this show every Monday. Make sure you check the date to ensure you're getting the most recent information. And as you look at this video, you get some sense as to the wide variety of homes available here. But it's worth noting that whether you have the least expensive home or the most expensive home, you have the same use of the amenities: golf, pickleball, recreation centers, swimming pools, etc. If you need to reach me, I can be reached either at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to help you with any questions you have. If you're a buyer looking for a good deal, I think you'll find our data-driven approach will help you find one. And if you're a seller, I think you'll find our approach will help you justify the highest reasonable asking price. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at what's happening in the Villages real estate market this week. Every week we cover a lot of information, and I'm going to go through it at a pretty good pace, and we'll start with listings. The total number of listings this week is down again to 536. Quite a dramatic drop from over 700 just a few months ago. Here we keep track of how long homes are staying on the market. Median number of days for all MLS listings as of today, 67 days on the market. And here is the median price per foot for all MLS listings, back to exactly $250.00 today. It's almost statistically impossible for us to see this level, so it is noteworthy. The previous chart showed you a zoomed in 1 year perspective of the price per foot for all MLS listings. Here we go back over 3 years, and we can see how 250 a foot compares. 250 a foot seems to be a level we have found some support at here. There's a big difference between the different regions of the Villages, and I'm going to break them down for you and show you how they differ. But let's start by taking a look at this map, which shows you all active MLS listings as of today. As I said, they're number 536. On this map, every listing is a circle. The larger the circle, the larger the home, and the brighter the circle, the more expensive per square foot. The first area is the north. This area is where the Villages began. I've defined the north as everything south of 42 and north of 466. This week, 227 active listings. The north is still the most active real estate market on the MLS. The next area is the mid-north. This is everything south of 466 and north of 466A, commonly referred to here as between the sixes. Still one of the more popular parts of the Villages. This week, 138 active listings in the mid-north. I just want to remind you that every circle represents a property. Size of the circle represents the size of the home, and the color represents its price per foot. Bigger the circle, bigger the home. Brighter the circle, more expensive per square foot. The third area is the Mid-South. We're getting into the newer part of the Villages here. I've defined the Mid-South as everything south of 466A and north of Highway 44. This week, there are 68 listings on the MLS in this area. And the final area is the South. This is the newest part of the Villages and the direction of the Villages' future growth. This is defined as everything south of Highway 44. And this week, there are 103 active listings in this area. Now, let's take a look at how the areas differ. This is the information that I'm going to give you broken down by region, the four areas that I described earlier. But first, let me show you how the villages as a whole appears. You have 536 active listings. You can see the size ranges, smallest, largest, and median size. Similarly, least expensive, most expensive, and median price. And on a per foot basis, the least expensive, most expensive, and median priced. Here is the same information, but broken out by region, so you can see how they compare. As you can see, the North, 227 listings, the South, 103. You can see the size ranges in the North, Mid-North, Mid-South, and South. Similarly, price ranges and per foot ranges. $120 a foot, the least expensive home in the North. $200 a foot, the least expensive home in the Mid-North. Here's a visual graphic as to the village's construction activity. You can see how many listings there are by year of construction for the villages as a whole on the right, and for the North, Mid-North, Mid-South, and South to the left. And it's obvious that construction began in the North, moved south ever since, and since 2020 has really only taken place in the South. Now, let's take a look at what changed last week. We are going to take a final look at listings, homes that sold, homes that went pending, and homes that were newly listed, and you'll get some sense of the differences between them for last week. But let's start by taking a look at how many new listings there were and how many homes went pending. This is a 4-week average. We are looking at 4 more homes going pending per week on average over the last 4 weeks. Here we're looking at actual weekly data, week by week, the difference between the number of new listings and the number of homes going pending. Last week, there were 7 more homes that went pending than were listed. This map is showing you the location of the 26 properties that were newly listed over the last 7 days. And this map shows you the location of the 33 homes that went pending over the last 7 days. So let's take a closer look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. Here we're looking at the prior 4 weeks, and we're looking at the average time on the market for the homes that went pending over the prior 4 weeks, 49 days, the median time for those homes. And this is the median price per foot at which homes went pending. Once again, we're looking at a 4-week average of the median prices for each week, 242.75, the average of the median prices over the last 4 weeks for the homes going pending. This is a chart we like to watch for signs of trouble. It represents the price change from the original list price for the homes that went pending over the prior 7 days. And you can see that we're back to a higher than 6% reduction. Looking at this graph, it appears that readings above 6% are higher than we normally see. So now let's take a look at how many homes closed over the last 7 days. This is an average of the prior 4 weeks, 35 homes on average closing here every week over the last 4 weeks on the MLS. Still looking at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. We are looking at an average over the last 4 weeks, however, and we're looking at how long these homes closing were on the market. 47 days is the average of the last 4 weeks median times. And still looking at the last 7 days and the average over the last 4 weeks. This is the price per foot at which the homes closed. 239.65 is the 4-week average of the median price per foot. This is a record of the number of sales per week going back a couple of years. You can see sales per week for 22, 23, 24, and 25. The red line is 2025. You can see the weeks of the year on the x-axis below and the number of sales per week to the left. This sales per week reading of 26 is noteworthy because it is the third lowest reading of the year. This is the same information but cleaned up a little bit because we're looking at a 4-week average. Red line again, 2025. We're back to identical levels to those of 2024, but we've certainly seen more activity this year than last year, as you can see looking at this graph. And here we keep track of the number of listings divided by the number of sales over the prior 7 days to get weeks of inventory. 16.4 weeks of inventory, which obviously represents slightly more than 4 months. I usually only show you the 4-week average for inventory, but since last week the number of sales dropped far more precipitously than the number of listings, weeks of inventory has risen on a week-by-week basis to over 20 and a half. And if you look at this graph, while it doesn't seem like much there have not been very many weeks with weeks of inventory exceeding 20. Here's a summary to give you some perspective of activity levels in the four regions. You can see North, Mid, South, and South, how many active listings there are as of today, and how many homes went pending or sold over the prior 60 days. If the number is an increase from the previous week, it's highlighted in green. If it's a decrease, it's highlighted in red. But as I always point out, an increase is not necessarily positive. If you're a seller and the number of listings increases, you would not see that as positive. And for those of you still here, I'm going to give you an in-depth comparison of the difference in price levels between active listings, homes that went pending, and homes that closed over the prior 60 days. Let's start by looking at active listings, 536 of them. Most active price segment, the $300,000 to $400,000 range. 207 of the 536 listings are between $300,000 and $400,000. This is the same information for the homes that closed over the prior 60 days. They numbered 297, 89 between $300,000 and $400,000, but 83 between $200,000 and $300,000. And the same information for the homes that went pending over the prior 60 days. 58 between $300,000 and $400,000, more than a third of the 167 total that went pending over the last 60 days. 46 between $200,000 and $300,000. Now let's take a look at how price per foot compares. Here we're looking at the entirety of listings on the MLS, 536 of them. Of those, 145 are between 225 and 250 a foot, 134 between 250 and 275 a foot. Same information, but once again, we're looking at homes closing over the last 60 days, 297 of them, 72 between 225 and 250 a foot, but 65 between 200 and 225 a foot. And finally, the same information for the homes going pending over the prior 60 days, numbering 167 total homes. Of those, 42 were between 225 and 250 a foot. And now we'll look at all listings once again, and we're looking at what percentage of the MLS listings have reduced their asking price from the original asking price. 57.28% of all MLS listings have reduced their asking price. And the median price reduction for all MLS Village listings is a 4.58% reduction. As you can see, we are back over 4.5% again. This does seem noteworthy.